Yes, it is, and welcome back. Happy September 1st, 2021, Wednesday. Sometimes I say the day of the week. How many people do you run into in a given day that say, what day is today? Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. It is a delight to welcome back as producer pro tem today, Chris Llewellyn. He is the vice president of Things All Important. To give you an idea, Chris, hi, how are you?
Seth, hello. Good. How are you?
Say portions of this show are pre-recorded.
I got to do it to you. Portions of this show are pre-recorded.
And people now know among the many kinds of things that you are involved in. You are the VP of all things important.
Just one of the awesome ones.
It's also possibly true, Chris, that of all the employees here, you and I have known each other the longest. I think that's right. I think if you go back to those days when I was co-hosting for Bill Bennett.
Yeah, if people don't even remember, you came about because you were living here and you were doing the co-hosting for Bill Bennett, needed a studio.
On Fridays.
Yeah. And it was 2
Oh, dark 30.
Yeah, exactly.
We would meet here at 3 a.m. And
so, to the point is we have a couple employees that have been here a little bit longer than me.
But I didn't work. Yeah.
You didn't work with them.
They didn't work with me.
So you are right about that.
Yeah. You and I have worked
Look
together.
at that.
Well, it's nice to have you back.
Hey, well, portions of the show might be pre-recorded.
They might be, but they likely are only pre-recorded if they are audio clips.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I have a problem with the word pre-recorded.
Is it the vernacular?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything other than recording.
But it was
how would you?
Recorded. It was pre. It's not.
Isn't all recording pre?
Well,
work on it. Work on it.
The idea of the pre-recording is this happened not live. We're doing Spaceballs.
Hence recording. Hence recording.
Soon.
We recorded it.
Yeah, but
people are okay. We'll come back to that. Thank you. We've created an epistemological question, and we'll deal with it on the break. That having been said, let me move to some graver business. There is a lot of grave business before us, starting with saving the republic. The efforts we have to engage in come at us in various guises, and it's been, I think, a key part of our effort here is to point out where they appear and where they don't. Dennis Prager likes to talk about most media bias is in what is not printed, and a lot of it is. But a lot of it is in what is printed as well. We point it out because we want you not subject to propaganda and the coin of the realm. The coin of the realm is what? What do I mean by coin of the realm? I'm talking about the dominant conversation that takes place in any given country. The coin of the realm is literally the currency in a given country, or I guess culture if you wanted, if that's your realm. But we've used it as an analogy, if not a synecdoche, to represent the zeitgeist. And the zeitgeist pushes against you, the culture pushes against you, and we are here to help show you why they are wrong and you are right. Morality, rightness, justice, truth is not determined by majority vote. And it's not determined by 28-year-olds who have a journalism degree and a byline in a newspaper. It's determined by far greater and more important things than that. And it's amazing to me how many smart 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80-year-olds fall for crud 28-year-old ideologues write with almost no training in anything serious or specific that they're writing about. For example, I'll just give you a for example. If you are reading serious and worrying stories, let's say about COVID, and the latest is about children and COVID, first check the byline of the reporter and see. I mean, I think it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Do they have a science background? Do they know what they're talking about? Have they lived on this earth long enough to have remembered 9/11? Serious questions, I think, you need to ask yourself about the information you're getting from these people, because I don't know that they're smarter than you. In most cases, they are not. I was pointing out just yesterday that we were given a inadvertent reprieve. I'm sure it's inadvertent. I can't prove it. An inadvertent reprieve yesterday because it was the first day, so far as I could tell, the first day in a year and a half that the Arizona Republic had no story on COVID except for one op-ed, but not a news story. Well, I don't know if they heard me or if they just returned to type, but today, boy, their front page fixed that. COVID-19 cases soar among kids under 12. New York Times, same thing. This is now the new push. This is now going to be the new panic and the new fear button. And it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing because for a year and a half, most people who agree with my outlook were talking about the effect of the mitigation strategies on the children, and no one gave a damn. No one gave a damn when we were talking about the children and what was happening to them by reversing everything they knew at the snap of a fingers in their social and educational lives. Never mind their after-school lives and programs, never mind their religious lives. We immediately, in the snap of a fingers, altered that and spoke about what the research says about those things and wrote op-eds about it. I did. Others too. And we talked about the studies that showed what it means to dramatically physically alter perhaps the most important public feature of a human being, their face. Now do it with 8-year-olds. We talked about studies involving tens of thousands of school-aged children that showed masks were harming them psychologically and behaviorally, even physically, with headaches, problems in concentration, depression, rising substance abuse from the rest of the mitigation strategies. We were talking about all of this about the kids. I was making the point that the odd thing in public policy, the irony to me in public policy, is almost any time someone proposes a domestic policy, a law, let's say, or a regulation, it's often done, and you know the refrain, in the name of children, so much so that sometimes we mock it because of the kids, because of the children. That's how you do serious public policy. That's who you try to protect, the most vulnerable. That's why we talk about women and children in almost any context of exigency, because we are here to protect the most vulnerable. We'll get to the strong secondarily. We protect the children and women first. Children before that. Children before that. And what we did in our mitigation strategy nationally, what so many others did nationally in their countries, was protect 70-year-olds by harming children. We did the exact reverse. It's why I said it was the ironic thing. Usually we do things to protect children. We usually don't ask children to sacrifice, and we usually don't sacrifice children to protect the adult, and in this case, the elderly, or for that matter, the obese. Children can't help being children, and elderly can't help being elderly, and some obese people can't help being obese, but a lot can. And no one talks about that or their hospitalization rate with COVID. Why? I guess they have a lobby. I guess they're a protected class, or I guess it just doesn't suit the narrative that there is a contingent of Americans that is not willing to walk in lockstep with what the government tells them. Why would they? I did this the other day. People asked me to repeat it. I wrote it down. You feel free to add to it. Why would it when I have been saying everything the government has told you, and by government I mean CDC and Anthony Fauci, of everything they have told you about this virus, of everything they have told you, nothing important, zero important, I stand to be corrected if you have one, has held for longer than 2 months and maybe even a month. Don't change your life, we were told by Anthony Fauci on the last day of February a year ago, only so that we could change it radically. Come to Chinatown, come to outdoor events, only for us to be told not to. Pets can transmit the virus. Pets can't transmit the virus. Don't wear a mask. Wear a mask. A mask is better than the vaccine. Wear 2 masks. No vaccine will happen in 2020. Fauci said that 3 times in one day. We got a vaccine in 2020. Wipe down groceries. Don't bother wiping down groceries. This is more than airborne. Deep clean your offices and physical surfaces. No, it's just airborne. Don't bother. Take my masks off if you're vaccinated. You don't need to wear them. Wear a mask now, even if vaccinated. Delta is less lethal, but more transmissible. Likely more lethal. If you're vaccinated, you won't get sick or die. Not true. Thousands have. 60% is herd immunity. Now 80% is.